I've had to really learn to be okay with being an outcast. If you're not willing to lose everybody and everything for where God's taking you, let's go right now. And with that solid belief, it's like, how can you let anything stop you, you know? And it's hard to not be mad at God. Some nights I feel like I sit there and I'm like, God, what the heck is the plan? When is it gonna get beautiful? I know what it looks like right now. I know what it seems like right now. I sure know what it feels like right now. But God said, and if it's not good yet, then it's not over yet, right? All right. So my car won't start. I love that for me. I absolutely love that for me. I was already outside and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit at the house and be frustrated because why is my car not starting again? Like, what is going on with my car out of nowhere? And then I'm like, you know what? Get in somebody else's car and go, because the last thing you need is to just sit in this bed and be salty. So I'm gonna go. I even brought my little car mount and everything. So good morning. We're gonna have a spirit of gratitude this morning, because if I don't have a spirit of gratitude this morning, then that negative voice is gonna take over and it's gonna ruin my whole day. So let's not do that. That's funny that I just said that, because we were just talking about that on live the other day. How it's really not simple, but it really is simple when you think about it. Like, there's a negative voice in your ear all the time, and there's a positive voice in your ear all the time, and your main job is to make sure that that positive voice is always louder than that negative voice, or as much as you can make that positive voice louder than the negative voice. Otherwise, it's very easy for that negative voice to take over. And that's pretty much what I just said. I'm gonna lay down in the bed and be salty at the fact that my car won't start again. And then that negative voice is going to be really loud in my ear, because the enemy's going to use anything. Or I can get into somebody else's car, be grateful for the fact that I live with family, that I live with people that have cars, have vehicles that I can hop into real quick, because it's 5 o'clock in the morning and everybody's asleep. I might have to change my time a little bit. I might have to make it home in time for somebody to go to work, but I still have a vehicle. I still have options. I still have resources. I still have help. So why choose to sit inside and sulk? Why choose to even allow that negative voice to be louder than the positive voice at any moment? Why? No. If I'm going to be salty, I'm going to be salty on the treadmill. If I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry lifting weights. Like, I'm not about to cry in the bed. I told them that on live like a year ago when I started. It wasn't a whole year ago, but you know what I mean. When I first started doing lives, I told them that so often. I'm like, my main thing was, if you're going to cry, if you're going to feel these feelings, that's great. Do it on the treadmill. Like, take your feelings with you. I don't cry in the bed anymore. The bed done held me down for way too long. I don't cry in the bed. Get up. Let's go. Your feelings got to come with me. But anyway, I had a really good weekend this weekend. My family was in town from Texas and Massachusetts. I'm originally from Massachusetts. And so I have a lot of family that still lives down there, over there. But my little sister is having a little girl. And so her baby shower was this weekend. And so some family came down to go to that, to celebrate that. And it was beautiful. The baby shower was beautiful. My sister looked beautiful. It was great. You know, I've talked about family a few times just because I've struggled with that a lot recently. Because I've always had a tight-knit family from what I thought. You know, I've always been very close to all of my family members, even the ones that live far away. I've always been very close to them growing up, but in just this past year and a half, I feel like I've kind of lost relationship with most of my family members. And it wasn't even intentional. I really feel like I just kind of outgrew certain situations. I outgrew certain discussions. I've outgrown certain energies, and it's been really hard, to be honest. It's been really hard to feel like I'm outgrowing something that I've always known. And I don't mean outgrown as far as, oh, I'm better than anybody, or I'm more mature, or like, I'm not talking in comparison. I'm just talking in general. Like, I'm in a new season of my life. I'm in new mindsets. I'm in new thought processes. I'm just very different. And so I find myself no longer fitting in. And it's really hard. It's really hard. It's hard to feel like the outcast in your own family. You know, it's hard to feel so misunderstood by people that you felt like once understood you, and then it makes you question, like, am I tripping? You know, if nobody really gets it, is it me? Am I the problem? And honestly, y'all know I don't really talk about a lot of things or complain about a lot of things that I don't speak on a solution for. And for me, in that case, the solution is just running to God for reminders. You know, I oftentimes just need reminded that they don't understand, and that does not mean that I need to give up, because they're not the ones that called me. See, we do that all the time. We let other people's validation or lack thereof determine whether we stop or not, determine whether we go harder or whether we give up, but they're not the ones that called you. They're not the ones that called me. My follower count doesn't make a difference, because they're not the ones that called me. My views and my likes and my comments, it doesn't really matter as much. Is it nice? Of course. Is it reminders that I'm progressing? Yes. But they're not the ones that called me. So they're not the reason why I continue. I continue because God told me to do that, and that's the reason that I'm doing everything that I'm doing. And so I had to remind myself that a lot, especially with family, because like I said, I'm so used to them supporting. I'm so used to having such a tight-knit group, a tight-knit family of supporters. I'm so used to having a village, and I no longer have that. And it's hard. It's all love, of course. You know, I love my family. I will never not love my family. But being in a different season than everybody else, being on different times, you know, like I'm in a different mindset. I'm on a different path than a lot of my family members now. And so I've had to really learn to be okay with being an outcast. I've had to learn to be okay with just having me and God sometimes, right? Like, I had to learn to be okay and to sit in that loneliness when I do feel it, because I am on a mission to go where God's taking me. I'm not on a mission to fit in with everybody around me, even if that means having to step away from what I've always known to be family for a little bit. And like I said, it's all love. It's no hate at all. I don't have a hate and bone in my body. But loving myself more than I love everybody else. Loving myself, loving God, loving where God's taking me more than I love everybody else, more than I love my comfort zone of what I've always known. And it's been difficult, but it was definitely nice to see everybody. Toward the end of the night last night, I had to go into my room and just kind of woosah, you know, kind of get my energy back a little bit, because I'm like, this is a lot. This is a lot to take in, but overall, it was a great time. I was blessed, honored even, to celebrate with my sister so closely. I got to help her with the gifts and stuff, you know, be the one up there sitting next to her, and it was a blessing. It was a blessing for sure. I'm very excited for my niece. I think with that situation, it's just one of those things where I really thought, you know, I've always been really, really close to my sister growing up. And we always talked about, like, oh my gosh, when she has a baby, oh my gosh, like, can you even imagine the day? And now that the day is here, I'm just like, I'm so out of it. You know, like, not out of it, but I'm so invested in my own journey. I'm so invested in where God's taking me that I feel like I'm missing a lot of things around me. Or I'm missing it's like I'm here, but I'm not here. And those on a real spiritual journey, I feel like you're going to know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, it might just sound like I'm tripping, which is fine too. You know, those that get it, and those that don't, just don't. But yeah, that has been a big struggle for me lately. I've grown apart from everybody, honestly, everybody in my family. I used to be very, very close to my sister. I used to be very, very close to my mother. And it's hard. It's hard, especially because I know that it feels like for them, they've expressed, you know, it feels like I'm just kind of stepping away from the family, or I just don't want any parts to do with anybody anymore. And that's not really true. I think that For me, I love my family so much that I want to take them with me where I'm headed. I want to take them with me where God's taking me. But in order to do that, I have to make sure that I'm good first. I have to take care of myself first. And if that means taking a year away from everybody, then that's just what I have to do. You have to be willing to do that. You have to be willing to go into isolation for God to take you where he's taking you. If you're not willing to lose everybody and everything for where God's taking you, anyway, good morning. We are in my mama's car this morning, but we're blessed and highly favored, and we're going to have a spirit of gratitude as we walk into the gym. Let's go work out. All right. It's 7:30. I had a cool workout. My energy was off. I still had a good workout. My energy was just not there. It was not giving what it was supposed to have gave. However, the sun rises, and I feel like by the time I make it to the park, it's going to be gone because it's already 7:30. But it's beautiful for what it is right now. I had a time at the gym. I was definitely sitting there crying. I went and got a massage after my workout, and I just started like boo-hooing. I was listening to Symphony. I'll put it in the description because that's been a go-to song in my journey for a while. It says, even in the madness there is peace, drowning out the voices all around me. Through all of this chaos, you are writing a symphony. And Lord, let me tell you, if there is anything that keeps me going, it's that solid belief that even through all the chaos, even through all the madness, even through all the obstacles and the confusion and the frustration, even through all of that, I know that God has a plan for me. I know that God is using all things for my good. I know that it's all coming together eventually, and it's going to work out exactly how God intended for it to. And with that solid belief, it's like, how can you let anything stop you, But it's hard. It's definitely hard, especially when you're going through so many things. Like, this journey has been so difficult, and I've been an open book the whole time, but I really haven't, like there's so many things I've never spoken on that I will never speak on. There's so many hardships that I've gone through, so many struggles that I've gone through that people don't even know about, and it's just hard. It's hard sometimes to keep it going. It's hard to not be mad at God. And I know that that's like a controversial, I can never say that word, but I know that's like a touchy subject. But some days it really is hard for me to not be mad or frustrated with God, especially when you're staying so obedient, when you can honestly sit there and say, I've done all the work. I've done everything that God has told me to do. And I'm not saying that there's nothing left. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I've stayed obedient the entire journey. I've stayed obedient the entire ride, right? Even when I struggled to stay obedient, I worked through that and then stayed obedient. And so when you know that, it gets frustrating when you keep running into all of these obstacles. You keep running into all these roadblocks. And some nights I feel like I sit there and I'm like, God, what the heck is the plan? If you have such a solid, beautiful plan, when is it going to get beautiful? Because right now, like, the journey sucks. The journey has sucked the entire time. God called me to leave my one source of income months ago. Like, what are we doing? Like, it gets so frustrating knowing that you're listening to God, knowing that you're not trying to do it on your own, yet not understanding why it's going the way that it's going. There are so many days that I sit there and I'm like, I know what it looks like. Y'all don't think I'm slow, do you? I know what it looks like. I'm not no stupid woman. I ain't never been stupid. I know what it looks like. I know what it seems like. I look at my bank account and I'm like, I know what it looks like. But God said, but God told me, but God promised. It's like you go over all these things that God told you in your head and you're like, you can't quit. I know what it looks like right now. I know what it seems like right now. I sure know what it feels like right now. But God said, And if anything, that's what keeps me going, yo. Like, the fact that God told me something, God promised me something. And if it's not good yet, then it's not over yet, right? 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 I honestly just pray, like, when people see me go where God's taking me, I hope everybody knows it was not some easy task. Like, it was not some get down on my knees and pray and then God snaps his fingers and my life is completely different. Like, it ain't never been that. I worked so hard for everything that I've accomplished. I've worked so hard for everything that I'm walking into, and I would be a fraud to ever sit on any platform and act like I haven't. Because I deserve everything coming my way. And it's hard when you have all these creators or all of these people in general that show the highlight reel of everything, right? Because it's lame to show yourself crying. Is it? Or is it real? Is it reality? Like, this ain't for the weak. Walking in faith is not for the weak. Like, it comes with so many challenges. It comes with so many hardships. It comes with so many attacks, and it's hard. It's hard to stay positive. It's hard to stay consistent. It's hard to stay in faith. It's hard to keep your eyes focused on what God told you when it looks like it ain't working, when it feels like it ain't working. But we keep pushing. Because what the heck, what other option do you even have? To go back? I don't ever want to go back to where I came from. And if I don't want to go back to where I came from and I'm not completely happy with where I'm at, then I don't have no choice but to keep pushing. We don't have no choice but to keep pushing. So we just gonna keep pushing. Oh, the sunrise is gone. But I did catch a beautiful glimpse of it. So I'm grateful for that. I'm just gonna chill for a little bit and talk to God for a moment, and then go get my day started. So good morning. Don't let Monday you today. Monday really tried to Monday me already this morning, and I ain't finna let it. I ain't finna let it. So I'm gonna get in God's presence for a moment and turn my attitude around, turn my energy around, redirect my focus, and have a great Monday. Bye, friends.